Dan, as you know, you've been extremely active in working not only with the council but the state in protecting the town on the incident that took place August of '24, the unfortunate situation that took place. And because of that situation, the state has and the town have worked, I think, together quite well to work on state legislation where it needs to take place on improving the safety factors on the landing. Can you explain what the state has done for people?
Yeah. So with respect to the toxic firefighting foam spill that happened on August 19th last year, all of us, from the legislative delegation to town councilors to the new MIRA executive director, Dan Stevenson, we have all been working around the clock to try and get as much of this cleaned up as we can, and to protect the future of all the new residents here and all the businesses here. And we feel that we've been meeting with some success. We passed my bill, LD 407, that requires all of the remaining toxic firefighting foam concentrate to be removed from this whole area, removed from Brunswick. We've had success there so far. You've seen some of that in the news. We also are requiring that all of the systems be shut down and purged, and that's also happening. And I'm very grateful that the governor signed that legislation into law. What happened here has been the springboard for a lot of renewed attention to the quality of the state's drinking water. We had momentum to pass one of my colleagues' bills around getting the highest possible drinking water standards around PFAS chemicals that in the whole country. And that's one of the silver linings, that where we have taken what happened to us and we have done our best to make sure that the entire state is able to learn from us and do right by us. We are inventorying all of the toxic firefighting foam throughout the entire state of Maine. Soon we'll be setting up one of the nation's first product stewardship programs for toxic firefighting foam because of the work we did in response to what happened here. And I have continued to meet, even after the legislative session, with public health experts and advocates for our environment and advocates for public health to figure out what we can continue to do so that we're always sticking with the people who live on the landing and near the landing, so that anything that ever comes up, we can stand by and be useful. And we are taking what we learned from last year, and we are really trying to make the best of it and turn it into a net positive for our community as best we can.
So this state legislation just wasn't for Brunswick and Brunswick's situation. This is for the entire state, which improves the living expectation, the water quality, and all the associated things. But it's also, do you see it also as being a hallmark or a flag presentation for the country on how to do this?
I think we will ultimately become a model for the country on how to respond to a situation like this. I think that when I was thinking about how to react, how to craft a legislative response to this situation, I put in bills that were specific to Brunswick, and I put in bills that had larger statewide implications, because I felt that what happened to us shouldn't happen anywhere else. And I thought that the way to pass the Brunswick-specific legislation was to make sure the state knew that we weren't just doing this for us, that we were sharing what we had learned and making sure that we could extend preventative measures statewide. And the positive response we got on both sides of the aisle was really incredible. People understood that the stuff that's spilled isn't just dangerous for people and animals, but it really has a unique impact on first responders, and that people across the aisle saw it as a way to be good to our firefighters. And the fire marshal, the state fire marshal, saw it that way as well and was eager to help. And the DEP commissioner was eager to help. And they even found a funding source to do a full statewide inventory of all the foam in the entire state. And it's going to shape our policy, and people will learn from us across the country.
It really does have an effect on all our first responders, law enforcement, fire, rescue, all the different services that provides first response to our communities, all communities. So this is good. Do you see the state staying on top of this legislatively and being sure that the legislation is proactive going into the future?
As long as I'm around and in the legislature, I will make it my absolute mission to make sure that no legislator forgets about this situation and forgets about the importance of a clean state and clean communities and what it does for our quality of life and our quality of place in Brunswick and across the state.
Right, and I think that's vitally important that we maintain a high presence of public safety, especially when we start talking about our basic needs of water.
Yes.
So, thank you, Dan.
Thank you so much for having this conversation with me, Dave.
You're welcome.